Hello, I'm David. Here's a reply video. I'll dip on the camera. Headset is recommended. I use a Camerify Live app. Just want to make a journal of a few things. Here is one song that, in my opinion, would signify or symbolize the entirety of the 19th century, and that's, Overture of 1812 song, most closely related to William Tell Overture song, and that's going to be related to Robert Greene's series of books. I don't know if I'm going to type all this stuff out. 33 Strategies. What the author mentions in many interviews, he reiterates that each book has only a few main characters that sort of signify the entire book. For example, Napoleon. That's what the song is about. Napoleonic Wars and stuff like that. War of 1812 and everything. Anyways, the first book is 48 Laws, and what it is, the introduction. The reason I'm making this video at quote-unquote Sun Tzu. Those are going to be the two people who most symbolize the third book in the series. Anyways, so I'll just have the music going, but removing the headset. So I'm going to try to wrap up this transmission in 5 minutes. Just the introduction. What the book is in one sentence is, it is, I apologize for that. I'm just going to disable the screen there. It is it's one giant eulogy of the entire first 2 millenniums of recorded human history since the year 0 up to the year 2000, considering a few things, like it was released in 1998, just 2 years before the turn of the new millennium into the third millennial era. So it was an attempt to just have the smallest amount of people to represent the entirety of the people who lived spanning 20 centuries. It was a very big task, and there's a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, are still chipping away at the, just trying to make the entirety of 2,000 years into very simple terms. I have a few other things. It's sort of like what the Beastie Boys were to hip-hop and rap music, following disco and R&B and doo-wop, everything of the 60s, 70s, 80s. Robert Greene is to books and recorded digital media such as e-books, similar to bootleg CDs, bootleg tapes, bootleg vinyl albums, up to MP3s, and into the modern day of Spotify and Napster and everything like that. There's sort of a deterrent to prevent people from using copyrighted material, and so that's what the book is. In simple terms, I'm gonna have to pause because I think the song's over. So screen back on. I apologize if there's a piece of trash that's gonna break down from the display turned on and off. I only say that because I know I'm going off. I try to adjust the brightness on a very large smart TV, quote-unquote, 55-inch TV, and when I turn the brightness down the next day, the entire TV screen went out and had to be repaired, with a new screen. So smartphones are designed in a better way. So alright, so just with Law 1, the reason that it can be disregarded, the quote that of the opening quote of the video that I'm making this reply for was, every single one of the 48 laws is quote-unquote important. So just the word important, though, that means that there's different levels of value, greater than or less than. So what is the most important? What can be disregarded? And in my opinion, the reversals are the most important pieces of the book. You know, parts are pieces, like it says up here. I think it'd be better, let me get sidetracked again, to break it down to just two parts, as in with really any book. There's just two parts of the book, and so I think the way that I recognize the book is, you know, the first 5 laws, always say less than necessary, never outshine the master, and, you know, on and on. In my opinion, the most important quote that always would sort of, when I was working too hard when I'm working for a paycheck or whatever, it would be never seemingly appear, you know, to be working too hard. Work hard behind the scenes, like behind the music, whatever. Okay, I'm definitely gonna stop right now because that's the actual. Okay, so here's a channel I'm replying to. Hello, Sigma Prime. And okay, so this was supposed to be about a 5-minute video, and I'm way over that, so I'm gonna turn off the screen. Anyways, when I discovered your channel earlier today, and I watched your most recent video from, it was either this month, sometime this month. Actually no, it was your most recent video, and I watched this today, and it took a lot of focus at the beginning, but by the end of the video, I was the story about the exercise and appointments and stuff. I was like, okay, I have enough cognitive, you know, ability that I can close the YouTube app and go on to whatever I was doing before I decided to start searching people talking about this on YouTube. Side note, there's just so much spam, so, you know, kudos and respect for having a, you know, worthwhile video. There's, I would say, 1 out of every 10 people who make videos on a topic are worthwhile videos, and not just sort of, you know, the thing is that I don't disagree with people spamming it, because like I said, it takes a lot of people to chip away at the idea of trying to memorialize or eulogize the entire 20 centuries into just a handful of people, many of whom are not even mentioned in the book itself at all. So an even greater task would be to make an Excel program, you know, just whatever, spreadsheet type thing, digital file, and have transgress, you know, or what starts with an O, observance, and sort of categorize as many people as possible, if not every single person who's ever existed, right, on Earth, that would, shooting for the stars or whatever, to have them categorized where they transgressed, where they observed different things. Maybe there's some laws that aren't even written in the book itself, just simply regarding law number, is it 4? I think it is number 4, and I mistakenly said it was number 2. That say less than necessary. The first 5 are the most difficult to understand, and I think that's why they're first, and it's sort of written in a way that people are going to unconsciously gain power just from having read through the book. They're going to be accidentally making all the missteps and gaining power, whether or not they realize it, because it's, you know, as simple as people who want money get power, and people who get money lose power. And so that's just a very simple fact of life, similar to how people talk about all the smoke. Both, you know, the most well-known quotes of the movie Godfather, for some reason I'm quoting it, is keep your friends close, just like law number 2 mistakenly mentioned. I would say in reverse, keep your friends close is actually, you know, a better way to think about that, in my opinion. But what it does is it protects people ultimately, right? It's better to think like pulling enemies closer, because, you know, a lot of people's fatal flaw, whatever, fatal mistake, would be observing the idea of keeping your friends closer than your enemies. So that would, rarely, but enough that it ought to be rephrased into the reverse of it for whatever. Just be a moral person, a good person, like moral strategies of the 33 strategies of war. Okay, so quite a few more things. I'll just say 2 ideas I have that there's, I don't know if I would say hundreds of millions of people viewing YouTube channels of hip-hop magazines and music magazines like Rolling Stone, people doing video interviews of music artists and celebrities, podcasts and stuff, and I think that's going to transition into that is sort of whatever's been created in the last, since the origin of YouTube, whatever, 15 years ago. The torch is going to be handed off to a new set of people, whatever. Anyways, the second idea is to have a voice chat 24/7, like CNN in the 1980s, where it's like a 24/7 people talking about this book, and with tap in anytime you want to on Discord, voice chat, wherever it may be, and people can discuss this stuff, because it's very hard to have this discussion with people who haven't read the book and stuff like that. So I don't know if I was actually going to unlock one of my videos here that I'm going to go ahead and do right now. No, I don't know, because I mentioned there's actually a Jewish term for Hashem, Hashem, and it's a similar word to Jehovah, and what it literally translates to in Yiddish is master, my master, quote unquote. That's what Jewish word for God is. And so I don't mention that a lot. I could show the Noahide Nations Facebook group and YouTube channel where just the main difference between the 2 people who are most well known in the last 20th centuries are Moses and Noah. Not the most mentioned, in the Old Testament, but close to it. Anyways, the first people who are in order, or whatever, Moses and Noah, the key difference is that Noah tried to save everybody. For example, if there was a soldier, I first last year found soldiers making 33 strategies of war videos, and it seems like I wanted to reach out to them, like, hey, I'm a civilian watching your video. Like, do you realize that you're talking to your, how Moses did, you were talking to your peers, yet I am a civilian watching this video, and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'd even be able to find that YouTube channel now. So that's why I'm replying to your video here, Sigma Prime, because it's like a Noah thing, and all the rabbis agree that Noah is greater than Moses ever, half the man, the top half of Moses ever was. So anyways, I try not to mention that it's difficult. It sounds like a cult. People are well known about Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff, but we're like the master, quote unquote. Everyone has a different master and stuff. I know there can only be one and all that stuff. What was I gonna say? It just sounds weird. It sounds like a cult, and so I'm gonna quickly move beyond that, because about cults, the most interesting people are the people who are born and raised in the cult. So I discovered this book in my late teenage years, early college years, and so I would be one of the most interesting people to study as far as this book goes. I first started reading it in 2006 when I graduated high school, started college that year. So what's so funny is that there's people who are massively earlier on in their life discovering this book, and it's a lot funnier to study those I don't know who to compare it to. If there was just one person to signify like entire group, it would be people who are sort of born and raised in the thing. Someone who comes to mind is, I don't know, way earlier than that, when I started playing PlayStation 1, 1995, I was barely 7 years old, and I started playing GTA 1 just 2 years later at, I would say, like 9 years old, and well, so I thought I was the most, earliest person into that, or whatever, into GTA. GTA 1 on PlayStation 1, and come to find out, there's someone who's 10 years my junior who was bought GTA Vice City from 2001, right? I see also GTA Vice City stories. Anyways, that's like a sequel to the game. Well-known voice actors. Ray Liotta from Goodfellas is the main character. Anyways, I digress. He said he was 5 years old when his mom bought him a PlayStation 2 and Vice City. And so to imagine how funny it is, he's 10 years my junior, and when I watch him on GTA, he's 10 times as advanced as I ever was. I thought I knew it all. I thought I'd seen it all. So anyways, those are the people to seek out. I'm not the guy. And so that's what, if the law number one is true, to truly pretend that, I'm not the guy you're looking for, or whatever. I'm not the droid you're looking for, like in the Star Wars movie. That would be the people to seek out, right? Because they're the least talked about. And so, everyone's heard of In the Beginning and Book of Genesis. Well, what is the last book of the Old Testament, right? What's the most spoken about? So I just split the book up into two parts. I can sort of place where each law fits, whether it's in closer to the beginning of the beginning, the end of the beginning, the beginning of the end, and so, those terms, whatever the simplest way to understand it. Ultimately, if the book itself is the quote-unquote the master book, the masterpiece work, the first work, is it the most refined or is it the least refined? And unless, of course, he wrote the 48 Laws of Nature, or whatever his newest book is. I haven't even read the book. Did he write that in 1998 or, maybe 1988, and he saved it for all this time? I highly doubt it. And I highly doubt that it's the most refined. I wouldn't consider it the masterpiece. I would say the masterpiece is the first book, first in the series. So, the first book signifies the entire 20 centuries, 2 millennia. The third book is really only about the 1800s, if the most important character of the book is Napoleon, then, the book, like, the theme song of the book would be like the Overture of 1812. And then, so, I digress. I don't know how many topics that I opened up in this, way more than I would have thought. But the thing is that I have like 5 ideas at the same time. I'm trying to verbalize one at a time. It's like a 5-point bulletin type thing. So the ultimate goal is to disregard the book altogether, as it says. The master is, only a teacher, really. But or a coach or whatever. It's like meant to be discarded. And so the idea is sort of how there's notes in the side of the book. I make a list of my favorite pages of all books, just in the front of the back. Here's my favorite note on this page. I just put page number, whatever. I quickly can go to the page and scan the page and find what's the best concept there of the book. The best quote that I've found after close to 2 decades of reading the book is, there is no power without danger. So the easiest way to understand power is danger. So the opposite of that is working for money, and having money is opposite of danger, opposite of power. Both things have two different terms, not because, but they are two different things. You know, when a person tries to save and hoard money, they lose their power. When a person tries to save and hoard their power, they lose their money. So that's just a simple fact of life that I've never really heard anyone other than Antonio Montana, fictional character, Al Pacino movie, quote. What else? Tons of things. So, the most important character that's the least talked about is Lola Montez from the video that is your scheduled premiere. You're going to have a live stream about avoid the infection, you know, avoid the unhappy, avoid the unlucky, unfortunately, what's the other keyword? The unsettling, right? I'm sort of unsettled because it's summertime in Texas. It's like extremely hot. So Lola Montez could be categorized with someone who I'm actually related to, that I just found out a few months ago. David Henry Thoreau is his birth name. He's most well known as Henry David Thoreau. I recommend seeing the 1970s TV series where Rosa Parks herself interviews him about MLK. They have an actor who was alive in the 1800s. You know, he was born. He was 5 years old at the. You know, this year is Vice Napoleon's demise, whatever you want to call it. And he was only 5 years old when Napoleon. You know, they call him the bogeyman, or whatever. And it is that is passed down to different people from North Massachusetts area. My 10th great grandfather is the same person who's his 4th great grandfather. So going back to like the 17th century. Anyways, my most recent video, I think, has links to when I discovered that on whatever website that was, and on a Facebook video. So my cousin himself, Lola Montez, and you know, I don't know if you're familiar with John Brown, not mentioned in Bob Marley's song. Anyways, the last words of my cousin, you know, he passed away at 42, I think the same age as Elvis, in 1862. Lola Montez passed away in 1861, just, you know, 58 days before the outbreak of Civil War, whatever first battle it was, with that iron ship or whatever, Ironsides. They had that Navy blockade and battle and whatever. So he wrote, the last thing that he wrote was the official, maybe not the last thing. What he did was he tried to defend John Brown in, I can't think of it. I haven't even heard it. It's not what he's most well known for. However, Lola Montez, her torch or whatever was picked up by some woman called Lena Medina. She was born in 1933. And what else? I don't know. I don't want to act like I know it all, but of course martial law is going to be the key terms of their initials, both Lola Montez and Lena Medina. I argue that the song Funky Cold Medina from the 1990s, I can't think of the artist's name right now. Funky Cold Medina. I can think of the album cover. I can't think of the name. Anyways, he was in the movie Ace Ventura with Jim Carrey in the 1990s. I digress. Once again, I don't know if I'm gonna end up uploading this video. It's so long. 25 minutes. I'll try to make a playlist of other videos where I talk about the book. So, the Law of Conceal Your Intentions has one particular passage in the sides that most relates to my cousin Henry David Thoreau, very important person of the 19th century. You know, I argue that he picked up whatever torch of the bogeyman, quote unquote, that Napoleon held, you know, being some kind of a legend type thing. He was a Sasquatch before, you know, that was a joke about Sasquatch and Bigfoot. That, you know, just see his Walden Pond, you know, it's just called Walden. Anyways, he was a Harvard graduate and dropout well before anyone else, really, who's well known. What else? So, if he had only, done a few things differently and observed some of the laws in the book, or I've made a video about it before. I don't know if I could link to it or what. In the background, the game Streets of Los Angeles. Anyways, I mentioned how, you know, at age 40 he talks about his resignation when he's talking about John Brown. Or actually, no, never mind. It's a different speech, but, you know, his name is spammed almost as much as Robert Greene is on YouTube. So, you know, him being my cousin, whatever, I am compelled to defend him and everything. So, his entire family was completely just gone altogether. He had 4 siblings. They all passed away without having any family of their own, so it's just completely gone. Entire gene pool. And I am talking about Henry David Thoreau. There was something just now that I was going to talk about. I need to change my tone. My tone's like, I started off like, meh, 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 meh. No, it's, I don't know, it's just it's quiet, too quiet. So, when I found your video earlier today, like I said, it took a lot of focus at the beginning to pay attention, and I was sort of, by the end of the story, when you're talking about the appointments and the exercise, military exercise appointment, and sort of, you didn't realize you were signing up to be the person who fills the slot of people who don't show up, whether you knew that or not, I don't know. And then just as I'm like, okay, I'm going to go off and start doing whatever I was going to do before I started searching this book on YouTube to see who's spamming about it this week or whatever, this month. The video abruptly ended, and I was like, oh no, the appointment. And so yeah, I've definitely waited on that part 2 of the video. I think I would say that the most important part of any book is the middle of the book. You know, so Law 14, whatever, infection, avoid the unhappy, unlucky. Looking forward to that stream. I don't know if I'll be there or not. Definitely reminds me of the scene in Happy Gilmore with the sprinklers. That was the first thing that I said, like when the video ended abruptly, and I don't know, it was funny. I wish I had captured my reaction. I'd definitely share that. So I got over it, and what else? So I think I introduced the book. You know, it's one massive eulogy or memorial to everyone who lived, everyone who's born in the 1900s and previous to that. So people who were born in the year 2000, 2001, every other book besides the first one in this series right here, whatever, is for them. So this is like, you know, huge thing to try to memorialize how many people there were. We don't even know, but trillions. But if we could categorize them as, were they transgressors or were they observers? You know, how and at what amount? You know, were they important or whatever? Do they have a value? Stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of people that could be added. We could start with each character that are actually written into the books, and then see who. Like, imagine if we could find their yearbooks of some of these people and see who their classmates were that they grew up with, or whatever, co-workers and stuff, and see, were they just imitating people from their life, or were they really, you know, truly original people? So a lot of times people are sort of categorized, you know, in groups and stuff like that. So anyways, I don't know. I opened so many topics of conversation in this one. I'll go ahead and make a playlist of other things that tried to go at this. I'll go ahead and show. I'll open the camera. Anyway, so I haven't really even got up from where I'm at. You know, I'm in Texas. It's nearly 9 p.m. So I'll dip on the camera again. Well, oh well. I'll have to rewatch this video and give a commentary on it or something. I don't know. So, alright. Transmission over, video over, video reason, reply, video reply, ramble, bunch of rambling stuff. So, okay. That's all. Do I want to stop recording? Okay.